Kahalo Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. The Shabbat Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with the World War III daily update. Shabbat Shalom. And salutations to you as well. I'm going to start right here. I'm going to keep this real short since it's the first report of the week. Okay, and everybody should know what's going on right now, but we're just going to cover it. I'm going to go to the military page so he can explain it. So 2nd Ezra 15 and 14, woe, meaning destruction, to the world and to them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Okay? And these swords can be anything from a switchblade to a nuclear missile. Everything in between. Okay? Guns, right? Bayonets. War. World War III. All right? Jump down to 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Okay, that's going on right now in these cities. Russia just launched a major, all right, a major for this moment, but they bombed a bunch of cities in the Ukraine. So I'm going to let Military and Foreign Affairs Network, the voice of reason, I'm going to let him break it down. Today is October 10th, Russia-Ukraine war. Russia strikes back. Okay. The empire strikes back. Wow. Russia literally bombed pedestrian bridges on college campuses in Ukraine in retaliation. Totally brilliant, genius maneuver. Hey, it's on and cracking. All right, so let's listen to this.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the Russian-Ukrainian war. And obviously, we were anticipating that the Russian Federation would strike back for the Kerch Strait bridge attack that occurred. I think we all are still trying to look at that attack on that bridge, and quite frankly, as I have seen the very limited amount of footage of the actual attack that took place, I know there's some indications that it could have been a truck bomb. As I look at the security footage that watches the bridge, to me it looks like a missile or a seaborne explosion took place, or it came from the north, and it impacted with the kind of the northeastern side of the bridge, and a very large explosion, which eventually caused the railway fuel containers that were being transported on the bridge to also catch fire. So not 100% certain it was a truck bomb, and I can't say for certain it was a missile strike or some sort of a vessel that struck the bridge. Hard to say at this point, but eventually we may know. We may never know. But ultimately, this led to this massive Russian attack over the past 24 hours. The Russians have targeted over 100 aim points inside of Ukraine. They have targeted the entire country, running from Lviv in the west to Kiev in the center north, and then all the way down in other areas as well, including Dnipro in this locale. The targets in Kiev. Well, we know the SBU headquarters was finally struck. It is estimated that up to 60 targets or 60 aim points in the Kiev region were struck by Russian cruise missiles, semi-ballistic missiles, Iskanders, or cruise missiles launched from Iskanders, KH-101s, and or modified S-300 to attack ground targets.
Are you interested in a solar generator?
Slucky.
Because we're giving away a free...
Slucky.
But the primary attacks that took place in Kiev, again, was the SBU headquarters. And I've talked a bit about the fact that the Russians have yet to strike the SBU headquarters or other sensitive possible command and control and leadership targets in Ukraine. And today, within the last 24 hours, at least it looks like they indeed have. We kind of zoom and we head south of Sophia Square. This is one of the aim points. This is the SBU headquarters here, a sprawling complex in this area. Additionally, energy targets were also hit. The Chip 5 facility just to the south bridge of Kiev was also struck. Let me find that here for you. Here's the south bridge, and here is the CHP5 facility. So this gives you an idea. Again, a energy facility that is necessary for power generation for the city and the surrounding areas of Kiev was also hit by Russian missiles. And again, as we watch this conflict, now hundreds of days, 228 plus days into this conflict, and we're finally starting to see some of the capabilities that the Russians have to inflict great harm to the Ukrainian state. I believe at this point we have really not seen the full weight and firepower of at least from the aspect of tactical air and strategic air assets that the Russian forces possess. And at least in Kiev, the Russians have been somewhat restrained in the targeting of command and control facilities and facilities that keep the power on in and around Kiev. So is this going to change the dynamic of the war, or was this a one-off and a warning to the Ukrainian state that any more such activity in which Russia considers Russia proper, i.e. the Kerch Strait Bridge or other targets inside of the Russian Federation, are off limits? And will the Ukrainians heed what this could be, in effect, a warning? Difficult to say. Hard to say if this is the first and last, what you would consider the Russian version of shock and awe, or are we going to see continued operations by Russian forces within the scope of this conflict? And I would have to anticipate that we would probably see further strikes. This conflict is not de-escalating; it is only growing worse week by week, month by month. And what concerns me is eventually this could draw in the possible
nuclear. That's all we need. Okay. Well, let's see what he says. Let's see. What's his next word?
At cost.
A NATO alliance or some sort of direct confrontation with the United States. Again, I still think we're a bit away from the use of a tactical nuclear weapon. I believe the Russians still have tools in their toolkit that they have not used as of yet. And I think what we've seen in the last 24 hours is just an example of the expansive tools that are in the Russian war toolkit that we have not really seen deployed as of yet.
Okay, so that's a pretty measured response right there. He didn't, oh, well, they're going to use nukes. And then everybody else is saying that, especially the West, right? And the propaganda machine. Oh, they're about to drop a nuke on nuke, a nuke, a nuke. And he said, no, not yet. We ain't there yet. And they did show great restraint. They just set off a couple of bombs in some cities. They didn't start nuking nobody yet. So that goes directly to propaganda. Uh, it looks as though they don't want to do these things, but when you bombing the Nord Stream pipeline, blowing up bridges and shit, what is he supposed to do? All right. Well, and then he said, is the possibility of uh, Babylon the Great coming into play just yet? He posed that question. So let's see what the scripture says on our way out of here. Okay, you know where I'm going. These same scriptures are going to come. I will do this. What? Stir up. Stir up what? The Russians. The Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua said, see, I will stir up the Medes, the Russians, against them. Them is Babylon the Great, which is America. I will stir up the Russians against the Americans. They can't be bought off. Okay? So what he said, let's go back and get it real quick. He said here, will this escalate and bring in NATO and Babylon?
A NATO alliance or some sort of direct confrontation with the United States. Again,
That was it. Let's go back it up just a little more. That's where the commercial came.
Possible. A NATO alliance or some sort of direct confrontation. This conflict is not de-escalating. It is only growing worse week by week, month by month. And what concerns me is eventually this could draw in the possible NATO alliance or some sort of direct confrontation with the United States.
It's not. It's not possible that it could happen. The scripture tells you what's going to happen. Behold, I, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, will stir up Russia, the Russians, against the Babylonians, the Americans. Okay? Here's what's going to happen. It's not possible it could happen. The scripture tells you what the Most High is doing. All right? So that's enough for today. A little information. Yeah, this thing is escalating exponentially. We'll see where we're at by next week. Where will we be in a week from now? All right? So with that, we hope that the elector edified you, brothers and few sisters. With that, we're going to say Shabbat Shalom.